Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Black Ink inside the Black Wall Street Times. I am your host, Nehemiah Frank, and you can call me Neo for short. So, what if I told you that the reason your voice isn't being heard at the ballot box isn't because you're not voting, but because your vote is being deliberately drowned out? That's the power of gerrymandering. And for decades, Republicans have used it to weaken Black political power. Let's break it down. Gerrymandering is when politicians redraw district lines to give themselves an unfair advantage. It's named after a governor from 1812, Elbridge Gerry, who approved a district shaped like a salamander to help his party. Fast forward to today, and gerrymandering has become a modern day version of Jim Crow. Republicans, especially in the South, have cracked and packed Black communities to dilute our political power. Cracking means splitting Black neighborhoods into multiple districts so we're always outvoted. And packing means jamming us into one district so we can only elect one representative when our numbers could have supported more. Today, Donald Trump is at the center of a gerrymandering controversy after telling Texas Republicans they can flip 3 to 5 congressional seats just by redrawing the maps during a special session. Now remember, Texas already redrew its maps after the 2020 census, but Republicans want to do it again, mid-decade. Why? To lock in more power ahead of the 2026 and 2028 elections. And Democrats are sounding the alarm. They say this is a blatant power grab, one that could dilute the voting strength of communities of color and violate the Voting Rights Act. Representative Jasmine Crockett of Dallas, joined by House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, called it a direct threat to democracy. Let's check it out.
Yeah, so first of all, it hasn't quite been said clearly that Texas has always been found to be intentionally discriminatory. And so I want y'all to understand the makeup of my state. The state is a majority minority state. And what this legislature historically has done is what they plan to do again, is to dilute the voices of people of color in order to make sure that they can get to where they're trying to go. We saw this Department of Justice decided to put out a letter, and what did they do? We only have 4 seats that are represented by Black folk, where the vast majority of the people that get to decide who they have represent them are Black. They decided to attack 3 of the 4 seats that we have in the state. They decided to go after a Latina. They are specifically deciding to splinter the communities of common interest, as well as just blatantly say, we are going to dilute minority voices. So we know that the courts, ever since we've had a Voting Rights Act, have always found this state to be intentionally discriminatory. That is what they are going to do. So I need people of color to understand that the scheme of the Republicans has consistently been to make sure that they mute our voices so that they can go ahead and have an oversized say in this. So I fully anticipate that's exactly where they're going with this map. It's the only way to do it. We didn't understand how we got to the map that they gave us last time because that state was grown by 95% people of color. They went out of their way to make sure that we got 0 new seats for people of color. So that's exactly.
But here's the challenge. Republicans control both chambers of the Texas legislature. So Democrats don't have many tools to stop them. Some are even considering another walkout like they did in 2021 to block voting restrictions. Political analysts warn that Republicans could overplay their hand. It's called a dummy mander when you try to redraw districts so aggressively that they actually become more competitive for Democrats. So, this move might not just be unconstitutional, it might also backfire on the Republicans. But one thing is clear, Texas is once again on the front lines of the fight over who gets to vote and who gets to have a real voice in our democracy. Now let's move to the neighboring state, Oklahoma. Black communities in North Tulsa and Oklahoma City have long been political engines. For years, Republicans in power have drawn district lines that fractured those communities, blocking them from electing leaders who reflect their needs. After the 2020 census, Republicans redrew the 5th congressional district, the only one that had flipped blue under Democrat Kendra Horn. They carved out the most diverse parts of Oklahoma City and replaced them with rural white counties that locked the seat back in Republican hands. After all, Republicans know that the majority of non-white people in this country vote Democrat. And they don't have a problem with drawing lines to keep non-white communities in Oklahoma split, underrepresented, and silenced. If you don't think that this is a strategy, let's go back to Texas, where the population keeps getting more black and brown. Because between 2010 and 2020, 95% of Texas growth came from people of color. But when it came time to redraw the maps, Republicans added 2 new congressional seats and gave both to white majority districts. In places like Houston and Dallas, black neighborhoods like 3rd Ward are cracked apart, divided, and disempowered. The DOJ sued Texas, saying their maps violated the Voting Rights Act. And federal courts have even found intentional discrimination, but the map stayed, and the people still wait for justice. Then there's Georgia, home to Atlanta, a city with one of the strongest black electorates in the country. And yet, Republicans carved Atlanta into pieces, stripping black voters of the ability to influence multiple districts. Congresswoman Lucy McBath, a black woman who won in the suburbs, had her district erased. She was forced to run somewhere else. In 2023, a federal judge ruled that Georgia's maps violated the Voting Rights Act. The courts ordered new maps, but not before several elections took place with rigid lines. Texas isn't the only place that Republicans are planning to redraw the lines mid-decade. According to Politico, Ohio is planning to do the same, and don't count North Carolina out. They've tried to redraw maps before and may try again, even after repeated court rejections. Here's the playbook. Use race as a proxy for politics. Break up black coalitions, disempower the cities, and lock in white Republican control, even if they're losing the popular vote. This is what gerrymandering does. It steals power from communities that built this country, from voters who survived Jim Crow, who marched across bridges, and who still believe in democracy. So the next time you hear someone say, "Why doesn't my vote count?" remember this. It's not about whether you show up. It's about how they draw the lines. And if we don't fight back, they'll keep drawing us out of our own democracy. Before I let you go, I want to remind you of the growing attacks on media, especially progressive media. Most Black-owned news outlets lean progressive, not by choice, but because of our lived experiences, because of the truth we carry simply by being Black in America. Now, as the philanthropic world pulls back from DEI and becomes more cautious around so-called political narratives, newsrooms like ours are feeling the impact. The cuts are real and we're not exempt. Thankfully, our Substack has become a lifeline. It's what helps us stay afloat when other doors are closing. So I'm asking you, become a paid subscriber to the Black Wall Street Times on our Substack. Your support allows us to keep telling the truth, to keep telling stories that matter, to keep going. So let's stay woke, let's stay organized, and let's keep shining the light on the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it makes them. Peace, y'all.